The Harris campaign's media blitz included a Univision town hall last night. The vice president is wooing Latino voters and talking up what she says is a good record on border security.
I will put my record up against anyone in terms of the work I have always done and will always do to ensure we have a secure border. When I am elected president, I will bring back that border security bill and I will sign it into law.
She's acknowledging she was in charge. My policy, my border security, my. You caught that, right? All you need to know, though, is one number, 206. That's the percentage. 206%, the jump in illegal immigrant encounters at our southern border. People are flowing over, and it's exploded by 206% under the watch of Biden and Kamala Harris. A new op-ed with the title, Harris's Media Blitz of Border Security Lies and Deceit. That's a quote, a headline. Congressman Byron Donalds, Republican of Florida, he is also a Trump surrogate. What do you make of all of this?
What I make is that Kamala Harris really has nowhere to go. Her administration destroyed our southern border. They've let almost more than 10 million illegal immigrants into our country. And it didn't really have to be this way, Harris. When Kamala Harris and Joe Biden came in, they signed 94 executive orders getting rid of all of Donald Trump's border security policies. It was stupid then. It's terrible now. The results have been disastrous. The only way to fix it is by electing Donald Trump, because she's not going to change the border procedures. She's going to go back to what they did for the first 3 years of this administration. The only reason why Joe Biden did this amnesty, this amnesty shutdown over the last 6 months is simply because of the election. No other reasons. And now she's trying to run around saying she signed a Senate bill. The Senate bill was terrible. It never would have got a vote in the House of Representatives. You know, it's interesting that you call it an amnesty shutdown, because they adjusted the numbers of the people coming across, and then they exploded in a couple of different programs to bring people in the air. And we didn't know that that was north of 1.5 million until just recently. So there are even more people. We don't necessarily know that much about where they might be right now. And there's no way they're vetting that many when they couldn't do it at the border. So it's like having the border in the sky. No, you're absolutely correct. And I misspoke, not amnesty, their asylum situation. They shut down the one coming across the southern border. They've exploded the one using the CBP-1 app that allows people just to get on flights and come into the United States. They've been playing a shell game with the American people for 4 years. And so all she's going to do, if she wins this election, is go back to the same shell game that's going to frustrate the American people. It's going to overwhelm our cities. It's going to smash budgets in every state and every city in our country. In other words, it's more pressure, because it was doing that. Yeah, and it continues to when you take into account all of the gang members that have been let in. 425,000 people who had criminal records. We don't even know where most of those people are. Like, and when I say most, I mean north of 95%. 13,000 of them murderers, Congressman. The Biden-Harris administration is still fighting back against negative coverage of the initial hurricane response 2 weeks ago of Hurricane Helene. Anytime we ask a question, anytime a congressman like my guest asks a question, they're labeling it misinformation. Yesterday, President Biden went after former President Trump, accusing him of spreading lies about Helene and Milton.
Mr. President, have you spoken with former President Trump at all?
Are you kidding me?
Information?
Mr. President Trump, former President Trump, get a life, man. Help these people.
Will you hold him accountable? You said you were going to hold those accountable.
Public will hold them accountable. You better in the press hold them accountable, because you know the truth.
Ooh, and a finger point. I don't know, Congressman. Could have turned that around to the mirror. Who got there first? And Trump's not even in office. What's your reaction?
My reaction is that, well, with respect to Hurricane Helene in western North Carolina, the federal government was slow to the job. There were people in those hills. They weren't getting them the help that they need. My colleague who's been interviewed about this, Corey Mills, and other just civilians were using their own helicopters to get into those hills to do the job that the federal government wasn't there to do. People are frustrated. They're not getting help. And so, of course, they're going to make their voices heard about this. And the response from the Biden administration is misinformation. You got Kamala Harris staging phone calls with mayors in Florida before Hurricane Milton to show that she's actually doing something. This is what's wrong with this administration. Instead of just doing the active response crisis that they should be doing, they don't respond quickly. They do not lead. And then when they're called on it, they lash out at people for calling them for their mismanagement and their lack of ability to respond to crisis when it happens. In Florida, we've been dealing with hurricanes. We deal with them all the time. You don't see our governor running around talking about people saying the wrong thing. He's actively moving resources into position and then responding when the storm passes. You'll do your media cleanup later. But these people here have only been concerned about their image. They've not been focused on any crisis facing the American people, whether it's a natural disaster or a politically caused disaster like our border, like our foreign policy right now. I've had enough of them. The American people have had enough of them. We need a change this November.
Look, just as an example of how long it took the administration to come to the rescue of folk and how people you've talked with have had to jump in, a family of 11 in the last day, it's been found dead. 11 people in one family that waited for help in North Carolina. Look, those areas are treacherous. You and I know that. But we have a mighty military. They could have been there within hours. I mean, we're the heroes of the planet. Your last quick word.
All it takes right now is leadership, and we frankly don't have it, Harris. We know Joe Biden's not running the country. Kamala Harris, we're not sure what she's doing. This is a technocratic government of bureaucrats who were never elected, so they can't be held accountable. They're only concerned about their personal side missions and their political agenda. But we've seen this time and time again with this administration. When crisis comes to the American people, whether here at home or abroad, they are slow, they're late, they blame, and then they try to character assassinate anybody else who tries to step into the breach. We've had enough. We need leadership in this country now more than ever.
Congressman Donalds of the great state of Florida, blessings to you all after Hurricane Milton. Appreciate your time.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.